Imagine watching your favourite anime adaptation, hyped beyond belief, only to discover they replaced the final boss fight with a slideshow. Not a metaphor, an actual PowerPoint presentation. Or better yet, imagine the studio looked at the source material's carefully crafted tragedy, shrugged, and said, nah, let's have the protagonist join the terrorists who literally tortured him. That makes sense, right? These aren't hypothetical disasters. These are real adaptations that actually happened. And today, we're covering the 10 anime that got done so dirty, they don't just want a remake, they need one. Like, urgently. And look, if you're the kind of person who gets personally offended when studios butcher a masterpiece manga, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button because we cover everything from hidden gems to industry catastrophes. And trust me, this list has catastrophes. Let's get into it. Starting at number 10, we have Umineko, When They Cry, a visual novel mystery about solving murders on a secluded island while debating whether they're caused by magic or human tricks. Now here's the thing about mystery anime. They have one job: make the mystery solvable. Studio Dean looked at that assignment and said, absolutely not. The source material uses something called the red truth, objective facts stated in red text that the audience can use to solve the mystery. It's like Ace Attorney, but with more family drama and existential witch philosophy. The anime included the red truth, then immediately showed visuals that contradicted it. Imagine Sherlock Holmes saying, the butler couldn't have done it, while the animation literally shows the butler doing it. That's the level of incompetence we're dealing with. Oh, and they only adapted the question arcs, not the answer arcs. So the anime just shows you horrific murders, and then ends. No solutions, no payoff, no point. A remake could actually let viewers solve the mystery, reveal the legendary Shkanon theory, and deliver the tragic romance that makes the story hit emotionally. But as it stands, the original anime is a crime scene with no detective. At number 9, Rosario plus Vampire, which you probably remember as that ecchi monster girl show with the pink-haired vampire. And yeah, the anime was that. Beach episodes, panty shots, the works. Generic harem comedy 101. But here's the secret the anime never told you. The manga pulls off one of the most drastic genre shifts in the medium. By season 2, it transforms into a full-blown dark battle shonen about eugenics, war, and vampiric politics. The protagonist, Sukune, who in the anime is basically a walking damsel in distress, actually undergoes body modification to become a ghoul, then eventually a Shinso vampire. He becomes a martial arts powerhouse, struggling with bloodlust and monster instincts. The final arc? A war against Alucard, as in Dracula, the actual progenitor vampire with world-ending power. The anime said, nah, and gave us a school festival episode instead. A remake could rebrand this series entirely. Less Monster Musume, more Jujutsu Kaisen with vampires. But until that happens, Rosario plus Vampire remains the biggest bait and switch in anime history. Number 8, Pandora Hearts. On the surface, it's a gothic fantasy with Alice in Wonderland aesthetics. Pocket watches, talking rabbits, boys in Victorian coats. You know the vibe. But underneath? It's an intricate time loop mystery spanning a century, and the anime understood none of it. The original adaptation spent so much time on the aesthetics, and look, they nailed the hot topic energy, that it completely fumbled the plot. Around episode 20, they just wrote their own ending, and they got the main villain wrong. The manga's biggest twist is that Jack Vesalius, the legendary hero everyone worships, is actually the true antagonist, a nihilistic monster who orchestrated the apocalypse just to reunite with his dead girlfriend. The anime kept him as a benevolent mentor figure. Imagine if Full Metal Alchemist ended without revealing Father's plan. That's the level of "we didn't read ahead" happening here. The tragedy of Sablier, the cataclysmic event the entire story revolves around, is never properly explained. The revelation that Oz isn't even human? Glossed over. A proper remake by a studio like Shaft could lean into the surreal horror and psychological twists, delivering the mystery thriller this story deserves instead of whatever that original ending was. Number 7. Dead Man Wonderland. Ganta gets framed for murdering his entire class and is sent to a prison theme park where inmates fight to the death for tourists' entertainment. It's Squid Game before Squid Game, with blood-bending superpowers. The anime had a killer premise, a banger OP, and exactly one season before it died, because the studio deleted a character required for the plot to continue. Her name was Azami Mido, codenamed Mockingbird. In the manga, she's essential for introducing Ganta to the resistance group Forgery. Without her, the story can't progress. The anime just removed her. for no reason, then acted surprised when they couldn't make a season 2. Oh, and the big mystery of the series, the identity of the Red Man who actually committed the massacre, the anime barely foreshadows it. In the manga, the reveal that Shiro, Ganta's childhood friend, has a split personality as the genocidal, wretched egg is soul-crushing. The anime treats it like a footnote. With the manga complete and the death game genre more popular than ever, a full remake could be a tight, brutal 24-episode series. But right now, Dead Man Wonderland is just a what could have been. At number 6, we have Gantz, the nihilistic sci-fi death game where people get resurrected by a mysterious black sphere and forced to hunt aliens. The 2004 anime tried. It really did, but it was made during the early days of digital animation, and it shows. The pacing drags, the ending is filler, and entire story arcs just vanish. The manga introduces a faction of nanomachine-enhanced humans called vampires, who fight against the Gantz teams, creating this chaotic three-way war. The anime cut them entirely. And the ending? The anime kills off the protagonist Kurono in a train scene that makes no sense and contradicts the established lore. Cool. Now, the CGI movie Gantz O adapted the legendary Osaka arc, and it's spectacular. Veteran Gantz players treating alien hunts like a drug-fueled sport, fighting yokai-inspired kaiju in the streets. But it's just one arc with no context. If you're sitting here thinking, how did studios mess this up so badly? Drop a comment with the worst anime adaptation you've ever seen. And leave a like if you're surviving this list, because it gets worse. A full remake could adapt the entire manga, including the final Catastrophe arc, where the alien invasion goes global. We're talking planetary war, not just squad missions. The original anime never even got close. Number 5. Claymore. Medieval world, shape-shifting monsters. Female warriors with regeneration powers who will eventually become the monsters they hunt. It's dark, it's tactical, and Madhouse gave it a gorgeous adaptation for 23 episodes. Then they panicked. The anime ends the Battle of the North arc with Claire almost transforming and defeating the main villain Priscilla in an emotional showdown. Sounds fine, right? Except in the manga, the Battle of the North is a devastating loss. The warriors are slaughtered, the survivors go into hiding for 7 years, and the story expands to reveal that the island where everything takes place is just a testing ground. There's an entire mainland continent with warring superpowers using claymores as bioweapons. The anime never gets to the abyssal ones, the kaiju-level awakened beings. It never shows the intricate politics or the final emotional payoff between Claire and Teresa. It's like if Attack on Titan ended at the female Titan arc and said, good enough. A remake with modern animation, think the flesh horror quality of Chainsaw Man, could finally give this series the complete, brutal story it deserves. Number 4. Soul Eater. Tim Burton meets hip-hop meets shonen battle anime. Students at the DWMA hunt corrupted souls to prevent the resurrection of the Kishin, the embodiment of madness. The anime is stylish, fun, and completely diverges from the manga around episode 38. Why? Because it caught up to the source material and decided to write its own ending. And that ending is the bravery punch. The Kishin, a literal god of madness, gets defeated because the protagonist punches him really hard while thinking brave thoughts. I'm not exaggerating, that's the climax. The manga? The Kishin's defeat requires a global alliance, the strategic use of black blood, a parasitic weapon, and political negotiations with the witches. It's complex, it's earned. And the anime completely skips the Book of Abon arc, where the cast gets trapped in a magical book and faces the 7 deadly sins. It's weird, it's introspective, and it includes body swap comedy that's actually character-driven. The manga's ending is bittersweet. Krona seals themselves on the moon to contain the madness forever. The anime ends with everyone smiling. Oh, and with the revelation that Fire Force is a prequel to Soul Eater. A remake would let the studio connect the Okubo-verse properly. But until then, we're stuck with the bravery punch. Number 3. The Promised Neverland. Season 1? A masterpiece. Psychological thriller, perfect pacing, high-stakes escape from a farm where children are raised as demon food. Season 2? A war crime. The studio looked at 140 chapters of content and said, we can fit that in 11 episodes. Spoiler, they could not. They deleted the Goldie Pond arc, which fans consider the best part of the series. In the manga, the kids stumble upon a secret hunting ground where aristocratic demons hunt humans for sport. It's where the story shifts from survival horror to war tactics. The kids learn to use guns. They become soldiers. Emma's character development hinges on this arc. The anime replaced it with a montage. And the ending? A literal slideshow. They showed still images of the Seven Walls arc, the return to Grace Field, the Demon Revolution, events we deserve to watch, as a slide presentation with narration. It's like if Breaking Bad ended with Walt saying, "And then I became Heisenberg," over a PowerPoint. The betrayal was so severe that the manga artist publicly apologized. A remake isn't just wanted, it's owed. Pick up where Season 1 ended and do it right. Number 2. Tokyo Ghoul. A tragedy about a college kid who becomes a half-ghoul and is torn between two worlds. At its peak, the manga rivaled Attack on Titan in sales. The anime? Studio Pierrot's greatest failure. Season 1 was solid, then came Route A, the season that made fans question reality. In the manga, after Kaneki is tortured by Jason, he forms his own group to hunt down Aogiri Tree and investigate the shady doctor who transformed him. He becomes ruthless. He cannibalizes other ghouls to gain power, descending into madness while growing his Kakuja armor. In the anime, Kaneki joins Aogiri Tree, the organization that tortured him. No explanation, no character motivation, just vibes. And the final fight, the most important fight in the series, the one where investigator Arima destroys Kaneki, stabs him through both eyes, and causes the amnesia that sets up the entire sequel? The anime replaced it with Kaneki carrying his dead friend through the snow in silence. Poetic? Sure. But it created a massive plot hole when Season 3 started, and anime-only viewers had no idea why Kaneki was suddenly an amnesiac working for the CCG. Tokyo Ghoul deserves a complete reboot. Restore the V14 fight. Show the cannibalism. Adapt the tragedy properly. Because right now, one of the best-selling manga of the 2010s has an anime that makes no sense. And finally, number 1. Berserk. If you're surprised, you haven't seen the 2016 adaptation. Kentaro Miura's Berserk is the pinnacle of dark fantasy. It influenced Dark Souls, Final Fantasy, and every piece of medieval grimdark media you've ever consumed. The manga is a masterpiece of ink and pen artwork and philosophical tragedy. The anime adaptations? A horror show. The 1997 series is the best we've got, and it still cuts the Skull Knight, a character essential to the metaphysics of the story, and ends on a cliffhanger with no resolution. The movie trilogy compresses the Golden Age arc into action montages, losing all political nuance. And the 2016 series... Look, I've seen bad CGI, but this was CGI that made characters look like action figures being dragged across a table. The director used Dutch angles like he was being held at gunpoint. The Dragon Slayer sword sounded like someone hitting a trash can. Fans call it the Clang adaptation, but the worst sin? They skipped the Lost Children arc. This arc is essential. Guts fights Rosine, an apostle who kidnaps children and turns them into monsters. It forces Guts to kill children, even though they're no longer human, pushing his morality to the breaking point. It's the bridge between the Golden Age and the Conviction arc, and it's never been animated. Why? Broadcast censorship. You can't show violence against children on TV. But here's the thing, we're in the streaming era now. Mature content is not only allowed, it's expected. A proper Berserk remake needs to be 2D, high-fidelity animation. Adapt it from Volume 1. Include the Black Swordsman intro. Adapt the full Golden Age and the Lost Children. Use the heavy lines, sketchy aesthetic of the manga, not the polished digital look. Miura's death has only amplified demand. The fanbase is begging for a respectful adaptation. Until that happens, Berserk remains the greatest manga with the worst anime. And that's a tragedy Guts himself would understand. So, there you have it. 10 anime that got done so dirty, even their own fans pretend the adaptations don't exist. If this list left you craving some completed dark fantasy anime that actually nailed the landing, I've got you covered. Check out my video on 10 completed dark fantasy anime worth watching. It's everything Berserk should have been in anime form. Links in the description and on screen right now. And if you made it this far, you're legally obligated to subscribe. That's not a request, it's just how YouTube works. I don't make the rules. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Don't let the studios gaslight you. These series deserve better.